Emma and I were starstruck. We had just gone through junior high together, and now we were finally taking on a major stepping stone towards our real future. We shared similar aspirations, such as working in the STEM fields and being the first in our families to graduate college, even high school. We both aspired to be role models for our younger brothers. We got into our school's AVID program together, a program designed to help first-gen students like ourselves better prepare for college. We both loved window shopping downtown together, enjoyed stargazing from Los Altos Hills. We even had the same McDonald's orders. To say the least, we were inseparable and indistinguishable. Like many of the other families in Mountain View, our families frequently discussed this possibility of moving outside of Mountain View. At some point for Emma's family, this became a reality when the ever-increasing rent costs ended up outweighing the pros of having high-quality school and work opportunities. Her family's displacement was a direct result of gentrification the Bay Area has been experiencing. You see, a couple years back when I thought of gentrification, I thought of urban development, change, and in the words of Lupe from the Netflix TV show Gentrified, nobody likes change, but if you can align with it, change can be good. Well, much of the change gentrification brings comes in the forms of improved infrastructure, transportation, schools, aesthetics, and more investors for the local businesses and real estate. All already good changes, so what is there to align with? Well, all this positive change creates demand, and with insufficient supply, housing costs skyrocket and affordable housing plummets. When you think of gentrification, which of these scenarios do you think of? Because I think of neither, or maybe even both. I think of Emma and other low-income families struggling to catch up with all these rent increases. Emma, for example, was a stellar student attending a great high school. Up until enjoying all these positive changes around her, up until the day she ended up having to suddenly move out. Like I mentioned, we both got into our school's AVID program. We are both seniors. Hopefully next year we'll both be in college. Well, the AVID here, we did plenty of things this year. We got to file our FAFSA right when it came out with the help of financial aid experts. We got to fill out college and scholarship applications with experienced mentors. We got to explore special programs colleges offer for first-generation students like ourselves. And now we're currently learning about finances and budget tracking with the help of Comerica bankers. You see, this is very different for Emma. For Emma, her AVID class only let them know about the reputationally complex FAFSA, did not provide mentors or experts or bankers. Not only did these changes impact Emma's schooling, it also impacted her younger brother. He was diagnosed with autism before their family left to Stockton. The special education program there has changed location 3 times, creating tremendous instability for a 5-year-old. Had he stayed in the area, he would have been able to attend one of the best programs for autism. Another way in which people align to these changes, but continue to live near their school and work locations, is by living in RVs. And like I previously mentioned, gentrification brings improved aesthetics, and to many, RVs are not their definition of aesthetically pleasing. So in Mountain View, this has created a desire to pass Measure C, an ordinance that prohibits oversized vehicles from parking down narrow streets of 40 feet wide or less. This ordinance was passed in December 2020. You heard that right, December 2020, in the middle of a global pandemic. And The Voice, a local media company, said it's expected to cost $980,000, nearly $1 million, to implement parking restriction signs all around the city starting in April 2021, this month. Not only is this wrong because it will bring more uncertainty into people's lives during already uncertain times, but it is also problematic for local businesses that are already struggling to hire service employees. And if these people move out too, eventually small businesses will be at risk too. Furthermore, this raises a question. Is there really no better way to use all these resources? A more creative way to use $1 million? So, should we have people keep living in RVs? Not necessarily. RVs are short-term solutions. We shouldn't have to choose between letting entire families live in RVs or forcing them out of our cities like some suburban variation of deportation. So now you may be wondering, then what is the solution? Some risks our counties and cities can and have taken include rent control, tiny houses, low-income housing, and working alongside some of our largest employers. Rent control is when our local government prohibits landlords from raising the rent drastically, say double the rent this month to the next. Tiny houses is something cities like San Jose have already started implementing, and that's semi-permanent housing that is designed to help prepare families to get back up on their feet after a couple months. Low-income housing is something Palo Alto and Mountain View have already started doing, and that is to set aside a handful of apartments and rent them at a lower cost. Working alongside some of our large employers is also something Mountain View has already tried. And just March 8th, to be exact, with Google. All of these risks are risks. They come with their own set of flaws, and they may not be perfect solutions or even solutions at all. But it is risks like these, visionary ideas like these, that will help us avoid the displacement and marginalization of our community's original investors. You see, if we want to have the most visionary future leaders, we have to have diversity in our schools. According to MDPI, a publisher of scientific journals, when there was a drop in 2013 of low-income residents in gentrifying areas of the Bay Area, there was also a drop in non-white residents, vice versa for the non-gentrifying areas. Let's get one thing straight here. Gentrification is not the villain. It doesn't have a mind of its own, and it doesn't only target certain racial groups. Instead, gentrification only exposes pre-existing racial disparities in our communities. Our school's purpose should be to produce effective community and business leaders who will be well equipped to work and deal with diverse problems. Emma, for example, is one of many future leaders LHS is missing out on. Sacrificing diverse communities is not a solution. If we don't want people having to make these kinds of choices, We have to help find adequate solutions, or at least just be open to them. We have to ask ourselves, how will we align to these nearly inevitable changes, and will we be the unbothered or the solution-seeking neighbors? Thank you.